Hello, this is MykonosFan, and if you clicked on that video, you know exactly that this is an E3 prediction video for PlayStation. And before I get to that, I need to apologize because I haven't put out a video on this channel in like a month. So what happened was, first off, I got into a little bit of a funk and just kind of said, okay, I'll ease off things so I don't burn myself out or anything. So about the time I was feeling like getting back into it, cicadas showed up, and they have been very, very loud. And I live out near a bunch of trees. The house is very thin walls, and there is nowhere in this home I can escape without hearing them in the background of any recording I try to do. And I can mainly only record during the day because, of course, cicadas go quiet at night. And the only reason I'm getting away with this right now is because it's raining. So apologies on no video on the channel for a month. I gave up on the order. I want to get back to that later on, but I do have Knack and Sly Cooper pretty much like settled out. I just need good silence to record those scripts, but I wasn't quite feeling it tonight, honestly. So I just want to talk about E3 since we're about, what are we? 9 days away from Sony's press conference. I put together a list of things I think are in three categories. 1, very likely. 2, sort of maybe possible. And then 3 is the short list of the not happening at all, but it'd make me very happy if it did happen. So I just want to go through this. I'd love to hear from you guys on what you agree on, what you disagree on, what you think will happen if I didn't say it, all that kind of stuff. So, first off, with the very likely to happen at Sony's E3 press conference, keeping in mind that a Sony insider has referred to this as the Year of Dreams 2.0, because last year was the Year of Dreams. Supposedly this year will be pretty crazy. I'm guessing the meaning behind that isn't quite minds being blown again as like Half-Life 3 is shown on stage or anything like that, but I think it'll be more of a general crowd-pleasing show that has a lot of what people want, but things that frankly don't seem outside the realm of possibility, like Shenmue 3. So that said, my very first prediction, Crash Bandicoot returns. I don't think that's the dream scenario of Sony outright buying the IP, but I do think they are licensing it from Activision. No idea in my mind who's developing that. Very interested to see. We might go and it doesn't even happen, but I heard something quite a while ago about it happening, and then all the insider teases started coming out. Then Sean Layden wore that shirt. If you saw my PlayStation Experience discussion video, you know I hammered on for way too long about that. But especially after a thing that happened last month, which I won't clarify for spoiler reasons if you're somehow not spoiled, I think it is very likely you'll see Crash. I think it was the group on Twitter, Nerd Leaks or something. They said that their sources told them it's an HD remake of the first 3 games. I don't know if that sounds plausible to me, but I do think that might be the best way to approach it, because you get a new dev team getting familiar with those original levels and designs and aesthetics and everything, kind of giving them ideas of, you know, what works, what doesn't work, and all that stuff. And honestly, I think it'd be a crowd pleaser if it turns out well. And assuming Sony's going through the trouble of licensing this IP, I do think they are making it worthwhile. I don't see why they would bother with a mediocre Crash game when they could just let it rot in Activision's closet for the next 6 years, as it has been. So I do think Crash is very likely. My second kind of very likely thing, Horizon Zero Dawn. I do think that will get delayed to 2017. Oh, I actually put this on here twice. I actually had my elaboration a little later on. That's why I feel so lost. Okay, so I do think it's getting pushed to 2017. Shinobi, a guy who's in the know and would know, has claimed and stuck to his guns about it being delayed to 2017. I believe him. Even if this is wrong, I'll still believe him after this. But I do think we will get that date push, and we'll get a we're working very hard. We want this game to be the best it could be, blah blah blah, and we'll probably, hopefully, get a long stage demo. Maybe 10 minutes. To give us a better idea of the game's scope and the direction. Because right now, it looks cool. Like, you're a hunter, and there's robot dinosaurs, and you have all kinds of complex weaponry and stuff to trap them and, like, extract things from them. But you don't really know, like, much beyond that. So I'd really like to leave that Monday night knowing more about that game. Because that was one of my favorite things of last year. That was probably my biggest... aside from the big three, that's probably my biggest surprise and the thing I wound up weirdly looking forward to. Like, I've never played a Guerrilla game, but I'm really, really looking forward to that game. So another thing I have here, I think World of Final Fantasy will be shown again, and I think it'll still be very unclear what exactly it is. We still haven't heard anything about a release date. I kind of think that might get pushed to next year, like early next year. But then again, that it might just come out later this year and not have much hype, and it might just kind of get a cult following. So, like, what do we know about that game? It's chibi. It looks really cute, but that's all we really know about it. So jumping off from that, I think there'll be a new Final Fantasy 15 trailer. I expect that to be the last kind of big trailer until September. What does it come out? 30th, I think? Yeah. Some people are expecting a 7 remake demo. I'm not. That'd be cool, but I think maybe you should keep your expectations low so you can potentially be surprised on that one. But, yeah, I mean, I think at this point you're either in on 15 or you're not. I don't think they're going to change your minds at this point. I think word of mouth will probably ultimately help or doom that game, but hopefully it winds up good. Next up, I think a new God of War is an absolute lock. There's been enough leaks and, talk that it's pretty certainly going to happen. I think it'll probably be a soft reboot. I think they're discussing it's in like a different mythology or something, so I think that's kind of, implied. But I'm expecting this to not be God of War 4, but maybe just God of War, new subtitle, or something like that. I've never played those games, but, I feel like it's probably been enough time for fans that they can get excited for that again, because it did seem like there was a lot of games, and a lot of people didn't seem to like Kratos. So I think it's been enough time. I think that'll be really good for Sony. I'd like them to open the show with that, because just personally, I don't want the show to close on that. Next up, I'll add a little bit to this. A PSVR showing. And then my addendum, a hopefully good PSVR showing is a lock. And I think they might unveil a must-have killer app that they haven't shown before. I'd like that personally, but maybe they just ride on what they got. I mean, Res Infinite is kind of a killer app already, personally, but I feel like they still need that one big thing for the more general hardcore PlayStation fan. Because it's a lot of indie titles, and there's some cool stuff there, but I as someone keeping my eye on things, I feel like I haven't seen that thing that's like, oh, okay, that's why I need this, and a lot of that is VR. You don't get it till you try it. I've never tried it. I live in West Virginia. There's no VR demo booths near me, but yeah, I don't know. I want to be impressed by it. I'll leave it on that. Another near guarantee is a very long focus on Call of Duty and Destiny, because what kind of E3 would it be without those? Yeah, I think Call of Duty, this is going to be where they need to turn things around. I think those dislikes don't mean much. I think that game will still sell incredibly well, but it wouldn't hurt them to try and turn the image around, the narrative around. I think we'll get a Last Guardian release date. I think that feels like an August or October game. It would be pretty insane if they had that big re-unveiling last year and then wound up delaying it. Like, they can't do that. They might, but they can't. Next up, Dead Don't Ride from Sony Bend. We've been hearing a lot about that. I think we'll get it detailed. I hope that's this year, but I feel like that could be a mid-2017 title. Excuse me for a second. I don't know. Sony Bend, they've been quiet since the Vita Uncharted, and that was, if that was a launch Vita title, that would have been fall, winter 2011 for Japan. If nothing else, that was spring 2012. So they've had quite a bit of time to work on this. I'm hearing some things like it might be open world, zombie, kind of Mad Maxy, post-apocalyptic but fun kind of thing. And it sounds like something I could dig, so I'm really interested to see more of that. And another, this is my last, very likely, an indie sizzle reel trailer because, quote, Sony loves their indies, and boy, let's show them on stage, and then move on to our next big thing that we actually care about. So, sort of maybe possible. This is my beefiest list. I should be able to get through these more quickly, though. I think Vita will get a little bit of stage presence. I'm just kidding. Oh, that's not happening. Okay, I think we'll probably get a Shenmue 3 trailer to update fans and potential new players to the series after last year's Kickstarter unveiling, and I think you'll probably get a little more clarity on Sony's involvement for those who haven't kept in the know on that. Just a kind of a subtle reminder. That might be something they might want to wait till PlayStation Experience for. But I feel like after debuting that last year, a lot of people who saw the headline probably thought, what the hell is Shenmue? Looked it up on YouTube and said, why is anyone interested in this clunky-ass game? So I think this could be a really good chance to kind of get, it's a little, it's been a year, but kind of get ahead of the curve and say, okay, here's why you care. Here's why this is for anyone who even hasn't played the first two. And hopefully Sega gets the ball rolling on those HD re-releases. But, I don't know. I think in the same vein, you could get a Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer. Oh, hear that thunder? Yeah, that's why the cicadas went quiet and I could record this. I mean, you could get that, but I feel like they might want to hold off and let some hunger build up for that again. Because we saw the remake trailer, we saw it at PlayStation Experience, and it's like, who knows when this thing is coming out? Are we just going to keep getting trailers every 6 months that people kind of feel on because of the multi-release thing? I think it'd be good just to kind of ease on the brakes some. Say, okay, we'll let the desire build, then we'll hit you with a good trailer. I'd like to see it, though. It was cool to see it at PSX, but that game was not performing very well, frame rate wise. So next time I see that, I want to see it smooth. Next up on the maybe Dragon Quest Heroes 2 and Builders shown real quick. I know Dragon Quest Builders just got a Western release confirmed, which I'm actually really looking forward to because I always wanted to like Minecraft, but it felt like there wasn't much purpose. I think this will completely fill that, scratch that itch for me. Dragon Quest Heroes 2, I don't remember if that's been confirmed for the West, but this could be a really good chance to. The first game is really good, so I'd like to see that come out of Japan. Next up, I think Dreams will be shown. I think, maybe... This is why this is on my maybe instead of my very likely. Maybe it finally makes sense to people outside of Media Molecule this time. Because I sort of get it, but I almost completely also don't at the same time. But I really want to like it, because Media Molecule are very interesting people. And they are very, very talented and creative. But I just don't click well with the, here's a game, but also here's the main draw, which is you can make whatever you want. Like, I'm not creative. I just want what the developers are wanting me to see. I want their vision, not, hey, make your own. But, that's still a very cool thing for a game. I'm just hoping it clicks finally. Because I feel like a lot of people just see that and go, okay, alright. And then it disappears and they forget about it. Oh, speaking of forgetting about it, the next on my maybe likely, the Little Big Planet hub rises from the dead. Do you remember that? In 2013, there was some trailer that was promising a free Little Big Planet hub where you can do all kinds of things with your friends. Stephen Fry was narrating it. It looked kind of cute, but there was just kind of CG of the characters messing around. There wasn't like a vision of this game or app shown. But I think everyone kind of forgot about it, and if they have been working on it, this is their chance to capture people's attention again and say, yeah, it's coming, don't worry, it'll be out in like this September. Here's the general idea, mess around with it, I think that'd be really cool. I think the Little Big Planet series either needs a break or some new things happening with it. And while a hub may not qualify as new, that'd be a really good... I'm not sure if anyone's clamoring for more Little Big Planet, but if anyone out there is, that could be a nice little thing to sate them until, some time has passed and there's a hunger for that series again. Now, next up, I felt a little weird about putting this on my maybe, since my reasoning doesn't feel entirely solid. But PS Neo, the PS 4.5, I don't know if it gets unveiled at E3. And what makes me say that is, if you announce that now and it comes out in October or November, you have people who are not buying your main console because they're waiting till October or November. And granted, you could say people have been waiting since... when did we first hear about this? After GDC? Because I think people were just openly talking about it there, and that's how they found out in the first place. But I don't know. Honestly, I think this thing in general is going to cannibalize sales of the PS4. So I think personally they may as well just announce it and shoot themselves in the foot already, because I think that's what's going to happen here. But I don't know if it happens at E3. I think that's maybe a Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, really close to release announcement. So you hit it, get the hunger, and you only lose a month or two of potential sales. Because that thing is going to, the PS4 is going to sell anyway to people who don't keep up with games or anything like that. But I don't know. It's hard to call anything happening with this half generation potentially coming up, because we've just never seen anything like that before. So very interested to watch it unfold. Next up, it's kind of a maybe. I maybe should have put this in my third column, but I don't feel all too confident in Sucker Punch Productions being at E3, but I'd be really happy with them showing up. I feel like from everything we've heard, their game is still in pretty early stages, but, whether it's the new Spider-Man that's rumored, if it's another Infamous, or if it's a new IP, I'd like to see them there. Next up, Knack 2. Knack is kind of a joke. I'm still working on my review. I was not very... It didn't leave an impression on me, but, it was listed on some woman's LinkedIn, so it probably exists. But he's back, baby, and this time for VR. Nah. If I had to throw out one wild card prediction, there was some VR demo where the person with the helmet simulates some person crashing through buildings or something. What if that got skinned to be Knack? I'm just saying. No, but I do think we'll see Knack 2. I think that'll be a bewildering thing, but hopefully this time it's good. I think maybe you see Ape Escape back for the next point. I just feel like there's a weird fervor boiling under the surface for more Ape Escape, and I feel like Sony acknowledges that series enough in its own little ways, and another Ape Escape would be another goodwill move to fans. I think you can make a downloadable 8 to 12 hour, however long Ape Escape games take, game, and make a lot of hardcore PlayStation fans really happy. To that same idea, I think we maybe see PS1 games on PS4. Maybe that ties in with the Crash Bandicoot announcement, hey, we're remaking these games, it'll come out a bit later than the 20th anniversary, but until then you can play the original games on your PS4 now. That could be how they tie it in. Maybe they just say, hey, this is coming, it's like our PS2 on PS4 initiative. Yeah, so I think if that happens, it will seem awesome at first, but ultimately we'll get hit with another glacial update pace like PS2 on PS4, and it'll kind of lose anything cool about it a few months later. Another one that's maybe likely, Kojima comes on stage, but hang on, I think he comes on stage with a translator or someone from Sony, talks up how exciting and advanced his project is going to be, but has no official announcements to make at this time, and it's just on stage to help, ground in that partnership. Maybe you get a logo or a vague, image, but you're not going to get, the game announcement and, a trailer or anything, unless, they're working, crazy on this thing. Next up, Detroit Becomes Human, or sorry, Detroit Become Human. I think that'll get a release year and another story trailer. I don't think you'll get an exact date, and I think that year is going to be 2017, and I would expect that in the fall. It might even come later than that. That game just feels a little nebulous right now because they announced it and have not spoke of it since, but we'll see. Next up, this is another one I maybe should have put my last call on, but I feel like the stars are kind of aligning for a new Devil May Cry, in the vein of the original series, not the reboot. I think you'll get a teaser. I think it'll be first on PS4, and I think there will probably be little to no extra info, just that it's coming, and that'll be one of those crowd-pleasing Year of Dreams type things. Another one, everyone's saying Injustice 2 is coming, so I'm just going to say that too, just to seem smart when it happens. People just love to watch those big men fight, those big old girls just fighting away. I don't care about Injustice. This one's in my maybe, and this is another thing where half of it is maybe, but the first half is a lock. I think there'll be another new No Man's Sky trailer, and my maybe is that it might actually show more than flying and run around this time, and it might make sense to people who aren't already in on the idea, because I watch the trailers and I hear about the game, and I think, cool, but what do I do in the game? So I'd love a trailer that shows the more minute-to-minute, here's the hooks, here's what's going to keep you coming back kind of game. Not the, here's our broad, mission statement of like, oh, the universe is explorable. It's like, great. That's awesome. What can I do in this universe, though? I really, really want to see a trailer that nails that in, but it's been so long without them doing that I don't know if it's going to happen. So, my last one for the maybe, a Gravity Rush 2 trailer would be nice. I think that is a series that you maybe need to be pushing a little harder, because from everything I've heard, Gravity Rush is pretty great. So that'd be a really good one to show, personally. So last up, how long have I been going? Okay, 22 minutes. This is about my usual for a rambling. Okay. So in my not happening but would make me happy column, first off, I know a lot of people who watch me are really into Sonic the Hedgehog. That game is not getting announced. Well, you know what? No, it could get announced at E3, but it doesn't seem like the kind of game you announce on a stage show, if that makes sense. I still think you either hear a little bit about it for Sonic's 25th anniversary or July 22nd. But people are going to be happy with this game. That is all I will say on that. Next up, I'd like Sunset Overdrive 2 to get announced for multi-platform release on Sony stage. If you saw my review, you know I love the first one, but that thing is stuck on Xbox One, and a sequel needs to get out there, because that game is so good, but only people with an Xbox One can play it. So a sequel that kind of proves on the, in my opinion, few faults of the first game would be awesome. And you can ride that high of, people are back on board with Insomniac right now after the new Ratchet & Clank, which was fantastic. If they if things are ready and they can capitalize on that and say, hey, we've got another colorful, wacky, tight controlling game, and it's coming, in a year from now or something, I think that'd be really good for Insomniac. Sunset Overdrive is really good, and I hate to see that die after one game. Next up, Sly Cooper 5 from Sanzaru, announced for 2017. I feel like Sanzaru probably have a bit much on their plate. I think they're doing VR. They have Sonic Boom Fire and Ice coming in September, but maybe they're at the point now where they started some pre-pro, or have been through some pre-pro and early production on a new Sly. Because if I heard correctly, 4 ends on a cliffhanger, and frankly, this is the kind of game PlayStation needs a little more of, I think. Not an abundance of, but just a little more. Next up, not happening, but it'd make me happy. Yakuza 0 getting a healthy time on stage, like a couple, 3 minutes, emphasized on showing non-fans why they should be fans. I feel like Yakuza trailers always get us fans excited because we know what to expect, and we know the next game is going to be even better than the last. But I feel like if you're an outsider watching these Yakuza trailers, you're like, okay, like on to the next game. Just something that plays up all these wacky elements and then also like these really gripping dramas that just hits you that way. Do you go, what? I gotta try that. What is this game? You know, that's what made me play 4. And since then, I've loved this series. It's really the kind of thing more people would love if they knew more about it, I think. And I'd really like to see PlayStation push that series a little harder on their main stage and not just that PlayStation experience. I think that could really help them and Sega out for getting that series to be a bit more financially viable, you know, for the West. Next up, everyone's saying Last of Us 2 teaser, so I put it on here because it does fall under my category of not happening but would make me happy. It's just way too early. I mean, I think the next thing Naughty Dog are going to show is going to be that single-player DLC for Uncharted 4. I don't think you're going to see that here, but why? Yeah, like, we don't even know anything about the DLC for Uncharted 4. Like, are they really going to put out a teaser for The Last of Us 2? Maybe next year. Could be PlayStation Experience this year, but I just don't see it happening for a while. I think that is a little outside the realm of the Year of Dreams. And my final one, and the one I'm ending the video on, a Legend of Dragoon prequel, or a sequel, or a remake, or just anything happening with it. I think the first game had some really neat ideas, and it resonated with me, it hit me as a kid, and it's stuck with me ever since. And while it's definitely not a fantastic RPG, I do think there is a lot of potential with that universe and that gameplay and all the, you know, and all these environments and things to really have Sony leverage their own big name JRPG. I'd like to see them have one to their credit, because while their JRPGs are associated with PlayStation, you know, Final Fantasy, I think Dragon Quest is mostly kind of, at least recently, associated with PlayStation, stuff like that. They don't quite have their own series that ever stuck the landing, and I'd really, really like to see Legend of Dragoon be the one they come back to it on and say, alright, this time we mean it, and this time you're going to love it, no matter what. But, yeah, that's just, these are just all my predictions. I think I've covered what could mostly be a show. I think there will be some announcements from companies I'm not as familiar with, or games I'm not quite into, but I think for the most part, I've either covered what will most likely happen, or at least what's quite possible to happen. Again, I'd like to know what you all think. Tell me how dumb I am, tell me how smart I am, all that kind of stuff. You know, just we're getting close. I'm really excited for this year, and I just want to know what you all think. So thank you for watching. Hopefully I will have a review out in the next week or two. I want to hope. It'll be Knack or Sly Cooper 1. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, and enjoy E3. Bye.